yet more genocidal racism from Donald Trump. This is Bob Avakian, Revolution number 139. 5 years ago, in 2020, I wrote a 10-part series, Donald Trump, Genocidal Racist, which analyzed why he is exactly that. This series is available at revcom.us/BA's Collected Works. If any more evidence were needed of this truth about Trump, he once again provided this evidence when he recently vomited out the claim that black youth who commit crimes are born to be vicious criminals. This is precisely the language of genocide. Along with other outrages, Trump denies the basic humanity and ability to change of youth and others who are caught up in crime. During the very positive radical upsurge of the 1960s and into the 70s, this became a mass phenomenon. Large numbers of people who had been into crime became conscious fighters for liberation, with many becoming revolutionaries, including some who became members and leaders in the ranks of the revolutionary communists. This was also true of large numbers of soldiers and veterans of the U.S. military, who have been part of the horrendous war crimes committed by the U.S. military in Vietnam, but then turned against that war and became an important force in opposing the war, with some, again, not only becoming strongly anti-imperialist, but also taking up the all-the-way liberating outlook and program of revolutionary communism. When Trump brays about using the military to stop crime and impose law and order, when he restores Confederate monuments and tributes to Confederate heroes while forcibly removing references to slavery from institutions around the country, this is a clear indication of the deep hatred he feels toward the masses of black people, and a clear statement of what he intends to do to those masses of black people, to intensify the murderous repression to which they are already subjected. In direct opposition to this genocidal racist poison from Trump, I have analyzed extensively how it is this system in this country and the situation into which it has cast and forcefully maintains millions of black youth and others that is the fundamental cause of the crime which fascists like Trump seize on to justify their genocidal racism. It is the toxic combination of capitalism and racism, of systematic, historically evolved segregation and discrimination, enforced with brutal violence by the powers that be, together with the basic functioning and requirements of the capitalist economy. This is a quote from another 2020 article of mine. Racial oppression can be ended, but not under this system. Also available at revcom.us/BA's Collected Works, where I analyze all this more fully and deeply. As for the argument commonly put forward by fascists and some others, that, quote, the breakdown of the male-dominated black family, unquote, is the cause of crime among black youth, besides the fact that what is needed is not male supremacy and domination, but gender relations based on equality, the truth is that, quote, the situation where many black mothers have been left on their own in conditions of dire poverty, often scrambling desperately and striving heroically to provide for their children. This is a symptom of the all-around discrimination and savage inequalities to which black people, male and female, continue to be subjected, with the roots of this in the centuries of oppression black people have been forced to endure." Unquote. This is analyzed more fully in another 2020 article of mine, Anything But the Truth. Here is a very relevant and important fact. During the days of Jim Crow segregation and Ku Klux Klan terror, the majority of black families consisted of two parents. The typical black family was the traditional male-dominated patriarchal family. And does anyone want to argue that black people were not then subjected to the most horrific oppression? Once again, all these racist arguments are part of a genocidal assault on black people as less than human. And these depraved arguments lead people away from the scientific understanding that it is this system of capitalism imperialism, as it has developed throughout the history of this country and up to today, that is the fundamental cause of things like crime, along with so many other terrible ways in which masses of human beings all over the world are forced to suffer as a result of the functioning of this system. And what does it say about this system that it has given rise to the rule of a regime headed by the genocidal racist and all-around fascist Donald Trump? The fundamental solution to this fundamental problem is revolution, to sweep away and completely uproot this system, bringing into being in its place a truly emancipating system, as spoken to in the declaration from the Revcoms, Revolutionary Communists. We need and we demand a whole new way to live, a fundamentally different system, also available at revcom.us. Once again, right now, the immediate and urgent need is for millions to actively take up the call from refusefascism.org to mobilize in a powerful nonviolent convergence on Washington, D.C. on November 5, 2025. And to repeat this important point of orientation, many individuals, organizations, and groups will have different views on what has given rise to this fascism and what should replace it. And we Revcoms, Revolutionary Communists, will continue to forthrightly put forward and argue for our views on this, and encourage others to similarly put forward their own perspectives. But this must take place in the context and atmosphere where we are all pulling together to overcome every obstacle, including divide and conquer schemes from whatever source and in whatever guise, uniting all who can be united in the millions and millions to achieve the truly historic goal of driving out this fascist regime.